first lead of the night that we're going to talk about here and kind of what we expect. I have some questions and we'll go over Fata's, my opinion. And we also have some insight from Austin, who was nice enough to make it tonight, send us his answers to these questions as well. So, let's get started. So, here is with the USL Championship. And who do we have high expectation? And sorry, before I do this, I got to be reminded, yes, there are a lot of teams who release third kits right before the postseason. I don't understand, y'all. Like Sacramento dropping a kit 3 weeks before the postseason. The grind never stops. You did it. And like that Muezi kit from Oakland was like 3 weeks before the season ended, and no one it just like how do you people do this? Anyways, high expectations. Fox, I want you to kind of go first. Who do you have high expectations for the USL Championship?
It's got to be obvious, right? First answer for everybody. It's got to be Oakland.
It's got to be.
It's got like it had perfect fives the last 2 seasons. So you can't sit there and tell me that you can't expect something killer from Oakland every year. So another team that I'm hoping will continue. I've loved what I've seen last year. I hope they continue. And I talked about this at the end of the season last year, but El Paso. Yeah. I hope they keep the train rolling. With their amazing work that they did last year with Hummel. So that's what I'm really, really, really hoping for.
Yeah, for me, I have high expectations of Birmingham. They have been creative. Something's changed since they moved over to Hummel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it? Yeah.
They
moved to Hummel. Something changed down there in Birmingham. The water changed. I don't know what happened, but they got good at this kit game, and I'm very excited every year about what they drop. Obviously, a little bit of bias here. We got Taylor.
Right.
Our
boss is telling us to say this one.
But no, they've done some really good things. Like the Sprite and Chill kit, it's simple, but it looked good. The I think the DeLorean kit was really good.
The Starfall kit? The first one you do is the Sprite and Chill kit.
I love that one. That one's like my favorite. Okay, I just bought that one too. Okay,
that one's one of my favorites because of how it's making fun of themselves.
Yeah, I love the irony, and it looks like a bottle of Sprite. I love it. It's perfect product placement. So it looks good. But the Stars fell, their attempt, them even wanting to do Jägermeister Cup kits with the kind of deer motif, the hunting motif. There's always something creative going on down there, and I always greatly appreciate it. In a league that has some teams going further and further down the template pipeline, and you're starting to see Birmingham set themselves apart, and I really appreciate that. Now, Austin did tell us any team he expects about, but something that we will talk about here is I know we all love some Charlie. I have a personal belief that last year Charlie, I think, either overextended themselves or they were hampered by the clubs that they're working with in year 2. Because I think they had a bit of a mixed bag last year. And the question is here, will they recover overall?
Yeah. And so I was talking about this with you too. I don't necessarily feel that I think it was more what you said, hampered by their team. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much that Charlie can do. So when you have a company that can build a jersey the way you want it to build,
mm-hmm.
and you sit there and you come out with just a white shirt, that's going to be on you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not going to see whether they can recover or not from last season because I don't think that they have as much say as we like to think they do. Like some of the teams have graphic designer come in and then they'll send it to the manufacturer and then hope that it looks good on a shirt.
Right.
Versus somebody who is an actual kit designer.
A little bit different.
Yeah, there's a difference. So I feel like Charlie can stand on their own 2 feet with their high quality. like Mateo, we were just talking about that. Like you put that Tampa Bay shirt on, and you can go run a mile right now. You can go
Easy.
and physically be athletic in it. So like
Right.
they have extremely high quality jerseys for every team. So I feel like their kit's always worth the price, but it's the design that's put into it. It comes from the team. If the team gives
Yeah.
a poop, then they will be good.
Yeah. And one of the things is also, I think we kind of saw this 2 years ago with Hummel. When Hummel did a few teams and they did really good, and then the next year they like when year two expanded a bit, got more teams. You saw a slight dip in terms of their overall quality of the designs from for one reason or another, as we kind of alluded to. But then they started to rebound again, and I think that is what I expect personally from Charlie, given that they'll probably now have more resources ready to do this, and greater dialogue with clubs. Because I can guarantee you, those clubs who release some kind of minimal kind of looking kit probably like, we didn't get as many as we did the year before. Let's look at why that was, and it's probably design, probably the creativity put into it, and then they'll probably see a rebound. Just like what I saw, what we saw with Hummel a few years back.
I agree. Yeah, it makes sense to me because I felt like they did have a huge boom this year, and so now that teams are working with them and have understanding of how to get the process through,
Yes.
you know, it should be better quality from every side of it.
Correct. So yeah. So we expect Charlie to recover, and also we've also noticed this, and this is a trend that we are very happy with, and we think it will continue. But more clubs release 1 to 2 kits a year instead of dropping three. I'm looking at you, Indy 11. You like dropping every single one except your away kit. Um, And speaking of this point here is soccer, scissor
Scissor.
tail again. I love to see Hounds go crazy with designs at the first year. Those classic looking designs here just didn't do it, but I'm also not the target audience. That is kind of one of the things that they were one of my biggest disappointments in 2025
Yeah. I feel like that goes
was
with one of the conversations that we want to have with like the community is, are we classics, just like
mhm,
stripes, pinstripes, hoops, or are we out of the box thinking something local artists and stuff like that?
or
I
some
felt
sort of a mix,
or
right?
like yeah, in the middle somewhere. I'm kind of in the middle most of the time, you know. But if you're sitting there classic, it's gonna be really hard to get a five.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that I think as I think Pittsburgh fits perfectly into this conversation of releasing 1 to 2 kits a year because I think they used a lot of that energy that first year. They nailed it. The bridge kit, the river kit, those were beautiful. I wish I would have gotten them. And then the year two, not the same magic. And I feel like it would have been better if they would have only had to release one of those at a time. So it would have been they kept the black bridge kit and then they released the white one from last year. Or instead of having to do 2 or 3 new ones every single season, I think teams can really focus on crafting an identity on that home or away kit and then having a message year after year instead of doing a blank slate every single season. Because I think we'll see some drop offs like we saw with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's the way it should be.
Yes.
That's the only thing I'm going to give props to for the MLS
Yeah.
with their kits. I
From
don't like
day
how they do
one.
the kits, but the one thing I like what they do with Adidas is that every team just comes out with the opposite kit. So one year in away, the next year at home, so on and so forth.
Yep.
And but my fear with the USL is that a lot of these teams are going to come out with two or more kits, and I think more teams are going to be doing that. And in my little speech that I talked about, it's like it
Mm-hmm.
is a strong way for teams to make money and spread their brand.
Unfortunately, yes.
because we are a smaller league. The MLS is known around the world, not necessarily in a positive light, but it is known around
They're at
the
least
world.
known.
Yeah. So like when they took USL, they're like, who? Like, but then you have a Forward Madison jersey on. People know who Forward Madison is around the world
Yeah.
because of the drip kit, and then that people come back to them now, and they come out with they're still kicking butt and taking names with. But to go with your point, they're with Hummel, but they made what 5 jerseys this year, probably. I think it was 5, but the only one that like really hit home, maybe it was
Oh, no, no, it
4.
was two, it was 3 kits, but then a few warm up tops. So 5
Was it only
total.
3 kits? Because they had the the,
There's,
the the full kilt kit. They had the flock kit, which
oh,
those two
and then
are
they
good.
also did the ice kits.
The ice kit,
Or
they had, was that the home kit?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, the home with the sash. I like that they continue that. So that was 3 kits. They didn't make a new away kit. They reused an
no,
away kit.
it was
Okay,
just the 3.
okay. So, but this is like they made 3 kits, and then like 2 of them were nice, but like when
Mm-hmm.
you keep sending out new kits, they're not all going to be bangers. So you got to be. I feel like that's a waste of material and a waste of resources.
Speaking of, as Austin put it, he thinks teams will continue to carry on. They're starting to see it be worthwhile. As we see here, Madison produced 3 or 4 hits in the season. They're not all worthwhile the effort. The time and energy is saving to skip a whole design process while marketing launch is huge. Plus, there's that environmental benefit as a plus. But realistically, that's not going to be a primary driver. It's just a nice cherry on top to be able to brand it as a green decision. It also saves you money as well. Yes, you spend money to make money, but for a lot of these clubs, they can probably cut corners on saving energy on kits and still sell it for $100 season instead of having people decide between two. That's still more money for the club.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because then like you say, you're spending more money on the marketing. You're spending more money on the
correct.
production for everything,
Yep.
and then of course for the actual jersey itself.
Bingo.
So
So,
if I
yeah.
don't have to spend $200, because as a fan I can't. I have twin 3-year-olds.
And a lot of the target demographics are either individuals who are single individuals who may not have that disposable income or families who may not have that entire disposable income.
Definitely don't have that disposable.
Exactly. So it just helps everybody. And something that we want to see continue across more teams across the USL. Um, yeah, and then the last one here is one of the big points heading into 2025 was Monterey Bay's open disdain for Puma as they moved over to Charlie, and then their aforementioned leap forward kit game. Because Monterey Bay had kind of been hampered back a little bit by the colors, as stated in their statement last year, and their overall design. They took a step forward in 2025, kind of like what Memphis did, RIP, in their first season with Charlie. And then ultimately, we got some of the best kits in team history before they folded. So, do we expect more Monterey magic in 2026 with Charlie?
I mean, I do. I feel like you have one of the nicest badges in the game. You got beautiful landscapes and everything in that area. I feel like, and now you have the kit provider that can follow a dream.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing that can hold them back except for themselves at this point.
I would agree. I would agree, and I think more clubs. I would have them like once again point to Birmingham. Year 2, after kind of be a little bit more free with their kit provider, kind of really went loose, and they look good from doing it. So I definitely expect Monterey, and they're on my list to keep an eye on for 2026. Once again, and also I think I'm gonna roll into this. Also, I think Indy 11 will be on my list this year just because of some of the marketing materials released. We might get honeycombs back. We might get some stripes, and we might get some gradients. Don't know the full pictures, but it's on my list and it's on my radar. And I wanted to ask you thoughts. This wasn't a earlier question. Who are you keeping an eye out this year? That's not that we haven't already mentioned.
Oh goodness, who we haven't even mentioned yet? Vegas,
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Vegas, and even when they had BLK, they were always coming out with crazy cool kits and stuff like that.
Right.
They were one of the ones that we talked about who they switched to
Charlie. No, Hummel.
Hummel. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was either one. There's one right there on the screen, but it's
Yes.
just cut off from the badge,
It's
from the
Hummel.
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on my wall. It's Hummel. Yes.
So they switched over, but I think they switched over like last second, and they had that just like plain white away kit. Where like
And plain gray later on that same year.
yeah, was it the Skyline?
No, it was
Oh, that was like the silver.
the Silver State kit.
Yeah, like yeah, sure it is, buddy. Uh, so they were one of those ones that were like, okay, now that they have talked with the team, talked with the company and stuff like that, then we got the Vegas Lights kit, and like
Yeah.
this is what you expect.
Yes. Exactly.
So now that we got that, I have higher expectations for them as well. So I'm keeping an eye on them. But then obviously I'm keeping an eye on Louisville because based off our conversation we had with Jonathan last season, Puma is treating Louisville like we're the top tier in America because we are. Not to sound like conceit or anything, but MLS is stuck with Adidas, so Puma's not getting any teams from there. The USL is the next part up. This is a championship side. It is considered like the gold standard of teams in the USL. So they're getting a lot of good. The team is getting a lot of good stuff from Puma, but we'll see what that comes in with which templates they choose.
Yeah.
But I'm always keeping an eye on Louisville because I like the other stuff that comes out with though. Like I have sweatpants and I have sweatshirts and stuff that are really comfortable. T-shirts really soft and only $25 versus like all the Adidas T-shirts they were selling were all like 30 something dollars. So always keeping an eye out on my team.
Yeah, we definitely got to keep an eye out. And one of the other teams I'll just throw out there that usually does some pretty well kit game is I'll just list them out here. San Antonio, they usually do something pretty fun. Lexington made a bit of a splash last year. See how they rebound, and as well as Sacramento. They always do something a little unique out there in the capital city. So we'll see. Keep an eye out for y'all here in 2026. Speaking of, I want to show you some of this information on all of here. For this one, I'm going to zoom us out. Fox, there we go. So for this one, these are all the kit providers for the USL Championship. Not much has changed per our understanding that we've seen as of this date. Not a lot of teams changed their sponsorship, their kit manufacturers in this past season. This also includes all the expansion side for Brooklyn FC, who's with Piazza, who's been supplying their USL Super League team. So now they're lumped into the list, as well as Sporting Jacksonville, also the Super League with Adidas. So, and with the reduction of North Carolina FC, this is the list that we have up here, with majority of clubs going with Hummel, followed closely by Charlie. That's not much of a surprise, is there?
No, and those are at this point, unless you go with like a smaller brand, those are the companies that if I were making a team in the championship and had the fundings and stuff like that, those are the two ones I would go with at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What's also fun and interesting here with this list is you also have a few different providers in there. So you have like Macron with Miami. You got a few Adidas sides. And then you got Under Armour. They're back in with Indianapolis. Again, that is an interesting one for me. We still have a Puma. Well, we have a few Puma. And then we also yeah. But yeah. So and Capelli. So we have all of these kind of different takes on kits. And I think that is important to note. Because I like what Macron has done with Miami FC. Their La Cultura kit from a few years ago was one of my favorites ever. And they've done well. Under Armour has been creative with Indy 11, even if you take out the quality. So overall, I'm liking this diversity of thought, the diversity of quality, and just the different designs and colors that we have across USL Championship. And I love
Yeah,
what I see here.
and that's the way it should be too. Like
Yes,
I would never want the league to go to a single company, even if it
correct.
is Charlie, even if it is Hummel. I don't want it. Like
Yeah,
that type of monopoly over a league kills creativity.
yep. And you saw it in the Canadian Premier League a little bit, who have now moved over from Macron to Hummel. So we'll see. We'll see how
Oh,
that works
didn't
up
see
there.
that. I did not
Yeah,
see that. I knew they were all Macron, but I didn't
yeah,
see that they switched over to. But again, I guess we'll see what happens with Hummel. But like,
yeah.
are they all going to be creative and cool and stuff like that?
And what's the downwind effect on the USL Championship in League One? We're primarily Hummel, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But speaking of League